Alright, moving on to our last ones. Yeah, it's just kind of get a little bit meticulous in our work here. We're given that LM is congruent to NO, and that's already marked for you. And we're going to put that as our reason. It's given. We're supposed to prove this guy. It's going to be in slot 3. The only bit that we don't know is our last conclusion. And when I look at these two triangles, I notice they share this side. And so I know that that side is congruent for both. So MO is congruent to MO. And that's by the reflexive property. And this gun is a lot like 8 on the previous page there. If you have the hypotenuse and the leg of two right triangles, that's actually enough information to have congruence. So that's HL for hypotenuse leg. Moving on to 14, we have 3 givens. We're just going to fill those in right now. They got the AB congruent to DC. Let's put the AB parallel to DC. And let's put down the BC being congruent to the next one, CE, sorry. And once you have all that, you're at this point where you need to figure out what the corresponding angles are. Well, these are our parallel lines. Here's the transversal going across. Oops. Parallel line, angle. Sorry. The line going across. And corresponding angles would be like this angle and this angle. Or this angle. Oh. Actually, I don't want. So there's our lines. We actually have 2 transversals going across. We got these 2. This angle is going to be the same as that angle because those are the corresponding angles, and so we're going to put that down as our angles here. Angle ABC is going to be congruent to angle DCE. And once you have that, you're looking at side, angle, side, side, angle, side. So we know these triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Moving on to 15, we know that PR is parallel to QS. That's a given. Angle QPS is congruent to RSP. That's also a given. The next part is already listed for us. These are parallel lines, and we know this transversal is going to cross, so we know those angles are going to be congruent. And that's by the alternate interior angles. And the reflexive property lets us know that that side is congruent for both. So PS is congruent to PS. And we have... Oh, and we got QPS. This other angle here, sorry I didn't mark it on my triangle. But we got angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. And so that's going to be our congruent statement there. Angle, side, angle. Moving on to 15. This LP line bisects MO. And LO is parallel with MP. And so we're going to put these little marks here just to let us know. And I also know right here in the center those 2 angles are congruent because they're vertical angles. So I can actually fill that in right now. L and O is congruent to angle P and M. R, N, M, P, N, M. So we're going to list out our two givens that we have here. Here we'll put LP bisects MO, and our other one is LO is parallel to MP, and then we need to know that LN is congruent to PN. And hold on one second. So again, this little statement here is not something we've really gone over before, but it's since LP bisects MO, and these are both diagonals in like a little pretend parallelogram that we have here. There's a theorem that says if one diagonal bisects the other, then if one diagonal bisects the other, then they're both bisected, and that's a long thing to fit in there. But it will put in diagonals. They bisect each other. And that's really, again, it's something we haven't really talked about. Yeah, I'm really confused why they put that there. But anyway, moving on. Alternate interior angles. Really, there's a few pair that you can do. Oh, I see what the problem is. Here's what the problem is they actually wrote this wrong. Oops, hold on. Okay, here's what it is. There was a typo right there. It's not, these aren't supposed to be what it's talking about. It's these two. ON is congruent to MN, and that's because of that statement right there. LP bisects MO. If you want to get alternate interior angles, you need to have two parallel lines, and that transversal that goes across. And really, we have a couple of options. We can either say these two angles are congruent, or these two angles are congruent. And really, you just pick a pair, and it's good enough. I'm going to pick the NLO. NLO to be congruent to NPM, and their alternate interior angles. And once you have that, here's your final statement, and you know it by angle, side, angle. Whoops, that's just, man, I've been messing up a lot on this one. I don't want those two angles. I want to have these, I want these two angles to be congruent, because I'm looking for angle, side, angle. And so I need angle LON to be congruent to angle PMN. And that's how you get those congruent by angle, side, angle. Man, that's messed up. Okay, moving on to 17. Like I said, these get progressively more complex in their nature and in their ambiguity. Okay, AE bisects BD. AE is bisecting this guy, and so we know that those are going to be congruent. And look, and that statement's right there, and we know that's by the definition of bisect. Man, I wish I could write my I-S. And we're going to just list our givens here. That's a given. This one's a given. AB being parallel to DE, part of our givens. How do we know those angles are congruent? So these ones here. Well, that's because they're vertical angles. And here we're trying to end up with angle side angle, by the way. And that's our last like congruent statement. And when so we need to select the correct alternate interior angles. If we're looking for angle side angle or angle side angle, we need these two guys to be congruent. And they can, because you have a transversal cutting across two parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides in between the lines, so they're alternate interior angles. So you're looking at angle A, B, C being congruent with angle E, D, C. And that's the end of that one. And moving on to 18 here. Our last one on this assignment, yeah, this last little bit's turned out to be quite a lot longer. Q is the midpoint of PR, and so we know those two are going to be congruent. And we're going to write that right here, right now. Fill it in my little chart here. I wish I could draw a circle that ended where it started. PQ is going to be congruent to RQ. QS congruent to RT. That's actually part of our givens. We have Q is the midpoint of PR. I'm going to put that as that first statement. And then PS congruent to QT. That's going to be my next given that I need to list. And there we go. Once we have that, we see it. We look at our triangles. We have side, 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 and so we're looking at congruence by side, 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 and that's it.